Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. You know who it is. If you don't, it's Jay. It's the guy who hosts the show. I'm so happy to have you listening to today's episode of Blockbusting featuring my good buddy, John Shefsky, talking about Chappie. This episode's been cooking around for a while. Glad we could finally get this one locked down and in the books. As you know, today's a special day. Well, it's the second of a special day because it's the second time I get to bring it up. But I just started a Patreon for this podcast where I'm going to be posting some patron-exclusive things there, like movie reviews, video reviews of movies that I see for outside of the podcast. You can get patron-exclusive perks like sticker packs and the Blockbusting Film Club, where we get to sit down and watch a movie once a month of your choosing. So join the Patreon, patreon.com/blockbusting. Links right in the show notes. Even if you can only give, up $1 a month, that's appreciated. You'll get access to all of my to the movie reviews, which is I'm excited to start. It's going to be fun. I love that you guys have given me an excuse to get really, really nerdy with my movie love and stroke this side of something I never really got to do before. So appreciate you guys and thank you for that. Join the Blockbusting Facebook group. Links at the top of the show notes for that as well. And if you live in the Midwest, in places specifically like St. Louis, Memphis, Indianapolis, Indiana, or in Texas, Houston and Austin, I'm coming to you for some shows. Tour dates are at comedy.com. But for now, enjoy today's episode with John Shefsky and Chappie.
Oh, let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, the long-awaited guest people been clamoring for, John Shefsky.
Shut up. You've been clamoring for.
I got
been
clamoring
one email
for it.
and one direct message in the past 6 months. Yeah, right. They've been clamoring. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Shefsky here.
What's up, dude?
Dude, I'm still stoked to finally make this happen.
Oh, my God. I've been, ever since I actually watched this movie that you came on to talk about, I've been so ready to talk about it with you.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because it's such a shame that this movie is not good.
Oh, yeah.
I love it's Chappie. We don't even need to mince words.
Yeah.
Chappie.
I was all excited, and I don't get that excited for many movies. So I was like, oh, dude, Blomkamp, the Antwoord.
Yes.
A movie about robotics and future stuff.
Yes. And Charles O'Copley's a robot.
Oh, man. I was so... Charles O'Copley?
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
He's
That's
the
how
guy
detached I am from society.
He's the guy who's in District 9.
Oh, yeah. He plays the... He's the voice.
Yeah.
And then the robot's super cute and like you personable and I wanted to love it. And dude, do you ever? I don't like being mean about people's art because we've made stuff. You know how much it takes to make something.
Right. I've made plenty of bad things.
Yeah.
So I understand how much it would hurt me, but it's such a shame.
The movie sucks.
It's so bad.
it's like I feel so bad hating it, but I was so mad when I saw it that I was mad. I was like, no, this movie can't suck.
Did you see it in theaters?
I think I did. And I don't go to theaters all the time. I think I saw it in theaters, but I can't remember exactly if I saw it in theaters.
Uh-oh.
I've seen a few in theaters that I was like, well, that was $12 we can't have back, but
yeah.
Good work, makeup artist.
Back when MoviePass was still a thing, that was the only thing that kept me from walking out of movies that I didn't like.
Is that not a thing anymore?
No, MoviePass went out of business, dude.
That's the thing where you're like, was that AMC or was that the actual place called MoviePass?
That was just the actual place called MoviePass.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, yeah.
I think like one of the companies has a thing where you can buy a pass now.
AMC does now.
Okay.
I have that. AMC Stubbs.
Dude.
It's worth it.
Sounds like a nickname for like a dude. What's up? That's AMC Stubbs.
I love AMC Stubbs.
He lifts up both his hands. He lost them both. I worked at a butchery.
He had an accident trying to go check out. He couldn't get out of his butcher shop in time.
That's right. In time.
Left it in the popcorn oil.
Oh,
ready to go.
So gross. Cooking any part of a human body just sounds just awful. When you read about the Inquisition and you're like, why did they toast the feet? That's so gross. Like, why would you cook people's body parts? It's so
toasted feet.
That's what they did. But that's where the term hold their feet to the fire comes from.
Oh, from the Inquisition?
Yeah, because those freaking Nazis would like hold people's like feet over the fire and toast them, and then they'd carry them into their court
Toasting makes it sound better than it actually is, though.
Yeah. That's not like making a Subway sandwich good.
Right. Yeah. Listen, we're going to run it through our toaster oven, and your feet are going to have a nice crunch to them.
Oh, they're going to be nice, dude. They'll be moist on the inside, crunchy on the outside, a little butter.
They'll hold up the sauce well. Yeah.
A little garlic salt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So, Chappie, do you remember your first, how it felt seeing this movie for the first time?
Dude,
the disappointment?
I go into it thinking like, oh man, they're gonna tackle some big subjects, and who better than you? Do you know Antwoord?
Yeah.
Dude, they're just a rad, like weird South African.
So weird.
Speaking of artists, like just
So
artsy
funny.
fartsy,
Yeah.
hip hop artists, right?
Very interesting music. I've always liked their stuff.
Dude, and they're really ornery. They're bitter at everybody, which is hilarious,
Yep.
right? As a comic, you're just like, oh, they're mad at everyone. They
Yeah.
don't like they don't like Lady Gaga. They're just pissed. Like there's that one song, was it Fatty Boom Boom, where they just like list off all of the famous, including Kanye, and it's like, whatever happened to good hip hop? I'm like, oh damn, they got some chutzpah. I was like, I love them. Dude, they're great characters.
Yeah.
As the Antwoord, like they're like, I've seen them in interviews. I've watched them on that Amoeba Records thing where they got to get all the goodies at Amoeba. Like they're always on. So you would think, oh, they're gonna star in this movie, dude. They're gonna be badass in this movie. And then you're watching the movie, and you're like, did they just not have coffee this morning, or like their characters? I don't know. I could just imagine the director being like, all right, moving on. I guess we're going to the next scene. That was.
I think part of the problem with the way Antwoord was used is that there's such a crazy.
Just the way you said it, the way Antwoord was used.
They're such a crazy pair. They got used in the movie, but they weren't allowed to be themselves.
They should have been buddy cops that were badass, but still like morally good.
Mm-hmm.
And they should have been like, I feel like they would have really knocked that out of the park if you like made them buddy cops. And if someone smacked them around a little bit and said like, hey, your acting sucks today. Get in there and do some good acting. I just have this feeling that no one had the balls to confront them to be like, hey guys, your acting's not there. Like you need to like take a deep breath, take a class. We'll hold the production off for a week. Like get back to speed. Like they were in their head. It was like watching someone. It was like watching a new person that doesn't know what they're doing act, and you're like, okay, they're just in their head. They don't know how to relax and just be this character. Well,
that's the thing. And Antwoord is this, as their aesthetic goes, they are already playing such a character in both of their performances, quote unquote, as the group Antwoord.
Yeah,
they're already playing a character. So this is like them having to play characters on top of that. So they can't go through both layers of acting.
It's too meta. And they got lost. But if you kept them basically they kind of played themselves in the movie,
right? But
they were
like
more criminal
versions of themselves. I didn't like. It felt weird.
They didn't feel like empowered, smart, like trippy, like cocky assholes. They felt like kind of lackadaisy criminals or whatever.
Because it's
and
the
no offense
layer
to
that they
Blomkamp.
had in the movie.
Yeah,
was so cool. I like their weird industrial old 80s sort of lair. And I
haven't been to South Africa, but that seemed like the Zeph kind of hangout, the Zeph Batcave.
It's very Zeph Batcave.
Yeah, dude, that seemed right. So good. Kudos to the PD. The production department did a great job there.
They did. Yeah. But the rest of it, it's just like, I mean, here's the thing with this movie. It's 2015 dystopian science fiction action film directed by Neil Blomkamp, written by Blomkamp and his writing partner Terry Tatchell, who they Oscar nominated for District 9.
Yeah, which was a phenomenal movie.
Charlton Copley, Dev Patel, Jose Pablo Cantillo, Sigourney Weaver, Hugh Jackman.
Dude, Hugh Jackman's great.
Yeah, and then Ninja and Yolandi Visser of Antwoord.
Yeah,
and it's about an artificial general intelligence law enforcement robot captured and taught by gangsters who nickname it Chappie. And it's just it has all the trappings of like this is going to be a cool, fun movie because it's not. I remember I never saw Elysium, which was Blomkamp's second movie. What did you think of Elysium?
Dude, I enjoyed Elysium.
Okay.
Everyone hated it that I saw it with. Everyone was like, that movie sucked. I was like, I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I liked it.
I never saw it, but I remember when Chappie was. I saw trailers for it, and I was like, "Oh, this seems like a nice turn away from how serious Elysium seemed."
Yeah,
because District 9 was really it became serious, but it was really fun and weird.
It was fun and weird with Blomkamp's social commentary on like how he feels about, I think, refugee crisis and just like
because the whole
classism and
an apartheid metaphor.
Yeah. But it's also like a modern like refugee crisis like social commentary too. So you don't have to go to a different time period to apply that movie.
Right.
But yeah, it was just a good sci-fi action movie that you're like bad guys trying to go after innocent people that end up thriving at the end and being like, oh, he got through and made it. Right?
It works on that level. And I remember seeing this and I was like, oh, maybe we're going to get back to that where it's just kind of weird and strange. And I saw the Antwoord and I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun time.
Yep. Oh, I've been reading about it for a while too. Like the Antwoord's coming out in a movie. I'm going to see it. And like they're South African, Blomkamp South African. I was like, this is going to be like a cool thing for them in their own country to be like, we're starring in a movie by the biggest director to come out of that country in years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who was before that.
I can't think of anybody.
I'm sure somebody
who's been bigger out of South Africa than him. I get Charlize Theron, but she's not a director.
No, but she could be.
She could be. Charlize could do anything.
She could be.
Hashtag.
It's a new hashtag for all of the hystericals nowadays. Hashtag she could be. Because, like a woman can do like whatever like a South African man can direct.
Right.
A South African woman can direct even better, actually.
Hashtag she could be.
Hashtag she could be.
Listen,
We
I
have
think
to start using that.
I wish that hashtag this movie was better could be. It's a bad hashtag for a bad movie.
Hashtag I feel guilty talking shit on. Dude, it takes hundreds of people to make a film that even like looks good and the sound is right and you have good shots, just good shots, action shots. So it feels bad just being like, the movie sucked. And everyone's like, well, did it suck in the catering department? I fucking delivered great chicken parmesan. You know what I mean? Like every person that worked on it's like, it didn't suck. It was a great experience.
Listen,
So
the Crafty was on point for this movie.
Dude, Crafty was great. They had every kind of gum you could imagine. This Crafty was on it.
All the South African gum, all the South African delicacies.
Do they have South African gum?
They
have a
probably
special
do.
One?
I mean, it's like how they call Diet Coke Light in the UK and in Europe.
Yep.
They probably have, whatever their version of Winter Fresh
They have
is.
Trident, but it's called Trident.
Yeah.
That's a South African riff. I've not even been there. I just, they got a lot of Jews there, so I always paid attention.
In South Africa?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Jews?
Pretty sure there's a lot of Jews in South Africa.
Yeah?
Because there's a bunch of interesting stuff if you start watching those documentaries. I don't know what happens if you finish the documentaries. I never make it through, but if you start watching those docs, you'll see there's a lot of Jews in South Africa.
Interesting.
I never knew that. Fact check me. If you're listening to this, you're like, hey, this guy Shevsky said.
Hey, listen, hashtag you could be.
That's right. There could
be. There should
that's right. She could be. She could be Jew. Is Charlize Theron a Jew? Oh, that'd be so cool.
I don't think she is. Let's look it up. Is Charlize Theron a Jew?
Chappie. I mean Siri.
Charlize.
There's no way she's Jewish.
I did meet Charlize Theron once. I've
did?
never talked about this on the podcast
Please
before.
tell us.
All right. So I was a precocious young man. I did some film and television studies when I was in college.
Yeah.
And we had this program, the Sprite Refreshing Films program. And I was entered as one of the directors. I was the director from our school.
Nice.
So I got to go to Las Vegas, where I did all sorts of weird stuff, like meet Tyrese Gibson, which I talked about on an earlier episode of the show, and all sorts of silly things, basically for them to like goose us up to how to make this movie. And we were there during CinemaCon, which is the movie theater owners' conference.
Yep.
It's a trade show where they basically, in addition to having like a weird trade floor where they have all of the like, oh, this is the new popcorn flavor that we're going to be coming out with.
This is why we're getting rid of film and we're going to start using these projectors this way.
Yeah, we're doing bacon popcorn. We're going to have seats that lie down. And I was like, this is wild. And then they also show all of the movies that they're really excited about to come out for like the summer slate. And then like, this is what our Oscar movies are going to be. So we were tied in, the Sprite Films people, with Universal. And so we went to the Universal screening of everything, and then we went to their after party.
Yeah.
And Charlize Theron was at the after party, and we, of course, there's other people floating around talking out. They're like, who the fuck are these college kids?
Yeah, just wandering.
And I was the youngest person because everybody else was like a grad student, and I was 21 and like just uncomfortably drunk because I was like, oh, I gotta feel cool around these people. And there's a picture somewhere floating around because I was talking to Charlize Theron. It was like me and somebody else from the program. And we were just talking about this thing, and she was like, oh, this is really cool that you guys are here. And then somebody came up, because they always had the photographers at the event. They're like, oh, let's take a picture. It's like, yeah, let's take a picture.
It's you and Charlize.
It's me and Charlize Theron. And she's tall, dude.
Oh, yeah,
Charlize
dude.
is like
so
6 foot
sexy.
something.
I love a 6 foot tall woman, dude.
And so just nice and down to earth. And there's a picture of me. I remember I was thinking like I could hover hand this and be ridiculed forever. So I didn't. I did the full, put my hand on her back.
Yeah.
And we took the picture, and I was like, this is great. And then I've never been able to find that picture.
Well, you got to find her and be like, do you remember got the Sprite thing and the blah 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 at the blue blue blue, and we took that picture. That'd be fun.
I think she's probably. I mean, my ideal is that she's got it right next to her Oscar for Monster. Just framed.
She's got a minimalist shelf in her beautiful home, and it's got those two things on the shelf.
It's just
the mantle is
the
one side of the mantle is the
Charlize Theron. But I love the way that Neil Blomkamp directs movies, and it was such a shame to see that Chappie had potential, but it got, for me, weighed down by a lot of stuff. What were some of the things that you didn't like about it?
Okay,
you saw the potential too,
dude. And this is me being a pretentious, dorky asshole.
That's what this podcast is all about.
Nice.
That's what we're here
pretentious, dorky assholes. Then I'm in the right spot. It's a pet peeve of mine when people and artists and just anybody takes this angle of like consciousness. Well, just it's a code, and you're like, and then one day you solve that code, and you're like, it's conscious. Like anytime a movie does that, I immediately it starts to lose me right away. So in the earlier parts of that movie is when the science dude, if that's the right term for his
the scienceman.
When the scienceman goes, it's alive. I'm just like, huh? Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like,
yeah,
it's not like I can't buy the whole like consciousness is a computer program thing, and that it's just so simple to be like, it's just binary, man. And so it's like, well, something can look conscious to you, the outside, projecting onto it,
right?
But is Chappie alive? Of course, I feel bad for it. I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm not going to say we should beat up a robot just because it could never be conscious, but when they're just like, it downloaded, upload complete, it's conscious. I'm like, huh?
It's
like,
how,
what are you fucking talking about?
It's how I feel whenever I've heard people say like the human brain can process however many terabytes of data per day.
Yeah,
and
according to what?
I don't know. What computer is tracking all of this? And also, I don't want to be like condensed down to that level.
Oh, it's same. It's like insulting. You're like,
yeah,
what's witnessing all this consciousness then?
Yeah,
like something's in there witnessing it. How do you know? I don't know.
I don't need to be processing it as data and gigabytes.
Yeah, totally.
And downloads and things. I don't need to think of my brain as just endless lines of matrix code.
No, it's not. It is if you break it down and analyze it that way. But then it's like, is that still like what the end result is? Like inside Jay's head right now, all this data is being processed by your brain. But then like there's something in there seeing it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
some call it the soul or whatever else. I'm not going to try to label it, but there's something seeing that data. And just because it's all collected and it's there to be seen doesn't mean that there's something witnessing it.
Right.
So I'm just like, you make a robot that can collect it all and even process it all and tell you what is being witnessed, but it's like that doesn't mean something's in there witnessing it.
Right.
It's getting really deep and annoying. So
no, but
I'll stop right now. It's a comedy podcast. Let's talk about balls.
Hey,
hairy balls.
Did Chappie have balls? No, he didn't. And
Yeah,
that's another problem I had with this movie.
Yeah.
Why do you get it? Why does he get to have a chain but no balls?
That's so weird, dude. He's got no balls. So is Chappie a guy or a girl? Even is there a gender?
I don't know. Chappie might be.
Chappie came out right before things started getting weird and everyone started getting upset. So
we can't really complain about robots being binary or non-binary as far as gender goes.
Nah, my robot's got dicks.
Yeah. Well, now that's the thing. Chappie was never designed as a sex robot. If Chappie was a sex robot instead of a killing machine,
he probably wouldn't look all like 90-degree angles and like hard surface like that, right? Oh, I guess somebody probably does have that fetish.
Somebody does. If there's anybody who wants to fuck, like a reclaimed wood table, it probably exists.
That's out there. As I tell my wife all the time, so there's a fetish for everything, baby. Trust me.
What do you think people do with knots and wood? They find ways to fuck them.
They find ways to fuck the knots.
Yeah. Exactly. Why do you think sex robots even exist? It's not just because it's easier for basement-dwelling people who can't talk to members of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever kind of robot appendage you want to put inside or near yourself. It's because they want to fuck a robot at the end of the day.
I watched a doc on Netflix about some like these 5 different people that they followed that wanted to have sex with robots, and one was a couple. It was a guy and this chick, and I felt bad for her. Like they're interviewing them, and did you see it?
Oh, I haven't seen this at all.
And he's just like, they had a hypnotist hypnotize her. She like agreed to, because she wanted to satisfy him. They hypnotized her to be like, I'm a robot for sex pleasure. And I was like, oh, this guy just has some sort of like fetish, and he just like wants to like have sex with a fully submissive person. He calls it a robot, and then she pretends to be a robot. And it's just all weird for me on the outside watching it, but for them, I'm like, okay, they're two consenting adults.
I guess, yeah, you guys made it work.
I think they made it work. I didn't watch the very end of the documentary. It might have been one of those like screens that pop up.
Do you ever get to the end of a documentary? It sounds like you always bail on documentaries before
I don't
like
get to
the
watch
last
anything.
20 minutes.
I got 2 kids. I never get to finish any kind of friggin' movies. I'm lucky if I get through Last Man on Earth episodes every now and then, like 20 minutes. What are they, 25 minutes?
Yikes. Yeah, 20, 25,
Yeah,
somewhere
it's
in
like,
that range.
Time to go to sleep, or someone wakes up and starts crying, and then my wife got to take care of him, and then I go to sleep. Yeah.
It's such a shame
I
that
don't
this
watch
is one
shit.
of the last movies you've watched all
It
the
was
way through.
Chappie.
It was Chappie.
I feel like I watched, what was a great movie that I saw? That movie with Reese Witherspoon while she's like out in the wilderness hiking after her mom passes away. Wild. It's called Wild.
Wild.
Oh,
Yes.
it was great. I loved that movie. That
Yeah.
one that we'd do if we did an opposite podcast for you one day. We're like, movies Chesky loves. Wild. Great movie.
That's going to be when I get my Patreon going. That's going to be one of the
That's the
Patreon only
bonuses?
posts.
Yeah,
is
that's
bonus.
a great idea. Dude, great idea.
Yeah.
But for now, let's talk shit on Chappie.
Chappie.
Speaking of stuff I did like, though, dude, Hugh Jackman's haircut?
I don't even remember what Hugh Jackman's haircut
It
was like in
weird.
this movie.
He looks like a skinhead female. You know, female skin birds, how they have those like weird, like they shave and then they have the weird little fluttering thing in the back and the side.
No.
They're almost like Hasidic kids, but then they're skinhead chicks. Trust me, if you're listening to this, dude, like don't stop the podcast, but like Google image search skin bird or whatever. They have the same haircut as
Was Hugh Jackman in this
and
movie?
I laughed through the whole thing because he's a real svelte, like in shape, like he's got like a good I'm a police officer build.
Right.
He's wearing like polo shirts that fit him perfectly and like tight cowboy Wrangler jeans and like
Right,
look at
right.
this sexy alpha male.
Well,
And
he's
got that little mullet in the back.
Yeah, and that's the problem is he gets so
Oi, mate.
he gets so turned away by being he is the alpha, but then old science man outsmarts him with his robot that's not a giant, not the moose,
Yeah.
not the gigantic killing machine. It's just like, oh, I've got a conscious robot.
Yep.
I'm gonna outsmart you, and then he's like, oh, we can't have that. Can't be having that.
They can't have that around here. Aye. That's how you do Australia. That's how you do a South African accent. You be Australian and then you roll the R's. There you go. No offense if you're listening in South Africa.
I don't know if we have any South African listeners, but if we do, please let us know.
Yeah.
Send us send us your pictures of your D. Antwoord style tattoos
Oh yeah.
that you have of quotes from this episode.
I've met a couple South Africans that I've been like, oh, Antwoord. And they're like, oh, they like roll their eyes like people from Seattle when you mention Nirvana. They're like, ah,
Yeah,
sick of talking about it.
So the whole plot of this movie is that the criminals played by D. Antwoord steal Chappie
Yep.
off a van.
Yep.
And because they get kidnapped. Oh, sorry, I forget. One of the criminals in this movie, the other one who's just hanging out with the Antwoord, is named America with a K.
So weird.
It's pretty fantastic.
I can't remember that character.
He's not, he's a non-entity as far as the rest of the movie goes.
He's forgettable, unlike the actual America, which is always in your motherfucking face.
Yeah. So they start taking over. They kidnap the van and our science man Dev Patel, and they take the van to their hideout. They take Chappie, they boot him up.
Yep.
And then they start training Chappie, basically like raising him as their child.
Hey, but he's so cute, and obviously they're criminals who are going to be bad parents. But dude, Chappie's so adorable.
Yeah.
I feel so bad when they're like cruel to him. And he's like, what? Why did he's like,
Right.
That's not right. And then you're like, oh, Chappie.
I just want to play.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so adorable.
He's got those eyes, the
Yeah.
TV eyes, CRT TV eyes, so nice, so inviting. I want to hang out with Chappie.
I do. Me too. He'd be a cute robot that doesn't know his strength. He'd step on things accidentally, and
Right.
he'd pet the kitty.
And there's moments where it feels like this movie could have been really nice. Like watching Ninja talk to Chappie and be like, listen, you're going to die.
Oh my
and
God.
and he has to have like the serious dad talk with Chappie about death. And Chappie doesn't understand what death is.
Yep.
But then, of course, they follow that up by being like, listen, so now we're going to go steal all these batteries. So that way we can power you. And he just tricks Chappie because Chappie's a child. Chappie's like a 5-year-old.
And Ninja is playing an asshole shit parent
Mm-hmm.
that is lying to a child, getting a child into things that the child shouldn't even be getting into.
Right.
Right?
But he's playing it too serious. He's not playing it with the fun Ninja D. Antwoord level that we were hoping
That's what
he
I'm
might.
saying is I'm like, was there no coffee on set? Were they both fasting, or are they getting clean during the filming of that?
I don't
and it ruined
know.
everything, like a band that shouldn't be getting clean, that the music starts to suck.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened to them behind the scene? Where's the doc in the making of this movie that it explains exactly what you and I are seeing?
It would have been so much more fun if they had just been having fun. It didn't seem like Chappie was a movie designed to be as fun as it looked like it might
it was
be.
going to be. Like if Ninja and Yolandi had, they always got their Ninjas got like all the weird sexual tension and stuff he always talks about. Like if they would have had more teasing like that and more like, I don't know, like was it a director problem? Like are we going to put Blomkamp on the spot right now? Be like, dude, did you not give them the right playground to be who they are and kick ass for you with your camera rolling? Like, no offense if he's listening.
That's the thing. I don't know. Have you seen any of Blomkamp's work after this? Have you seen any of his like Oats Studio stuff?
No. What has he done after that?
Okay. So after this, Neil Blomkamp started I don't know whether the proper term for it is a production company or like a YouTube channel or whatever. But he did a thing called Oats Studios, and basically it's a production company. We can call it a proper production company.
Like oatmeal oats? Like
oats, yes. Like
oats?
the grain.
Oats,
like the meal.
Yeah. Okay.
Oats and groats and diddly dotes and something barley. Who knows?
Yes.
Mares eat oats and dozy dotes and little lambs eat ivy. There we go.
Si, senor.
That's what he's calling
That's
it.
a long name. A lot of syllables in this company, but here's your bank loan.
Whatever works. So Oats Studios was a series of short films. It was the umbrella term for it that he made. They released on Steam and YouTube, and they're solid.
Okay.
They're really there's some really, really good, violent, fun, interesting sci-fi in there.
Ooh,
and it's sort of more in the vein of like Back to District 9, where it's dark and there's some funny parts, but it's also some good social commentary, and it's back to form for Blomkamp.
Good.
Which is, I feel like, kind of what he needed. I was hoping that he could do something fun like Chappie.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was the right time.
I mean, what you're bringing up right now makes me excited because it just reminds me of some sort of peace I felt a few years ago. I got mad. I bought the Queens of Stone Age came out with like Clockwork, I think it was so I was super excited. They're probably one of my favorite bands. And Clockwork came out. I was like ready to rock the fuck out. And I barely, who buys CDs anymore? I buy a few. I buy a Drive-By Trucker CD. I bought a couple, like random CDs. I'll be like, I'll buy the hard copy of that.
Okay.
So I bought Like Clockwork, and I put it in my CD player in my car, and I was driving, and I was like, all right, first song, like, it's good, but like, next one will rock. Next one will rock. You get to like the 13th song, you're like, all right, man, maybe the next one will rock. And then you press the fast forward again, and then you're back to song one. You're like, none of the fucking songs rocked. And I was all pissed off, and I was almost like cursing this band. And then I stopped, and I was like, had a little self-talk. I was like, John, this band, and specifically the common thread who stuck with the band the whole time, the founder, Josh Homme, has given so much pleasure to you over the years, so much absolute brain candy joy of his poetics, of the music, and all the other bands he's produced amazing albums for. I was like, how greedy and asshole, whatever you want to call it, how needy and greedy are you that you're cursing this person that has given you nonstop pleasure? Mm-hmm. Who the fuck are you to tell them they can't like make an album that not even saying it's a mistake, make an album that they felt from the heart was like what they wanted to produce for their art. Like you could just go back and listen to the last album that you loved so much.
Yeah.
And just let this artist be. This artist is a human being. They're not they're not your slave.
Right. Go back to Era Vulgaris or whatever, you know?
Yep. Which even that one I cursed for a little bit till I got used to it. And even Lullabies to Paralyze, I was like, this ain't Queens of the Stone Age. And then eventually I was like, that's some of the best Queens of the Stone Age I've ever heard. Anyways, this is a Queens of Stone Age podcast episode. But my point being is like what you're saying about Neil Blomkamp is like, he's a human being. He made a movie. A ton of people put in together to make this movie, but he directed a movie. He orchestrated it. It wasn't exactly what you or I wanted. And maybe objectively, it is a bad movie. Maybe we are saying that. Hint, hint.
I'd say that.
Yeah.
I'd go so far as to say that.
He made a bad movie. But at the end of the day, and Neil, if you're listening, you're a human being, damn it.
Yeah.
And you made something great many times over, and then you made something that maybe wasn't that great, but it's okay. Because guess what? You picked your hockey stick up again, and you took a couple more shots, and you did some more goals. I don't know if that's a good
Mighty Ducks.
Good metaphor.
Do they have hockey in South Africa?
Time. Oh, they have hockey. It's on dust. It's on dusty
hockey.
Ground. Dust hockey. They use skulls instead of pucks.
Now that's a good sci-fi movie. I'd love to see what Neil Blomkamp does with the weird hockey Death Race 2000 mashup.
Oh God, I can't watch any more freaking what do you call it? Dystopic like desert movies. I'm so like, has anyone got a fun view of the future if climate change doesn't get fixed? Like, there's got to be a good view. I keep watching these. I just saw a Blade Runner the other day.
The new one, 2049.
Oh, dude, it was beautifully shot. Ryan Gosling, who his acting coach is definitely one of the Antwoord people.
Yep.
But dude, it was so dark, and I was just like, is there anything good that happens in the future? Like no one making. I mean,
I don't think so.
Right?
I don't think there's anything. It's all deserts, man.
It's all deserts, which I love the desert, but I'm like, you have to have the civilization with the green trees to ship in the water for me to enjoy Joshua Tree. But if there's no Los Angeles to give us the water and the T-shirts with the silk screening and the stuff to buy for my, the carne asada for the camping trip, then Joshua Tree is just Mad Max, and fuck that shit, man.
Yeah, see, I don't mind. I would imagine that there's got to be a world, hopefully sometime in the next couple of years, when we can get back to having fun sci-fi again.
Yeah.
Because all of this, like, dystopian future stuff is just, like, I could tell that Neil Blomkamp was trying to have fun with a sort of like a not very far into the future, just in the future enough.
Yeah.
Like
a little
near
RoboCopy Chappie.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, it's a 2027.
Right. And then all of a sudden, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame. And then, fun fact, speaking of RoboCop, that was the next movie he was supposed to direct.
Oh, the newer RoboCop?
Yeah, he was going to direct a new RoboCop called RoboCop Returns. It was going to be a direct sequel to the original. But then he announced on my birthday this year that he will no longer be directing RoboCop Returns and is going to focus on a horror movie instead.
Ooh.
So I'm intrigued by that too.
I would love to see him do a horror movie. Although I don't watch a lot of horrors. That'd be fun.
It's going to be interesting to see him stepping out of sci-fi into horror.
What if he does a sci-fi horror like that Sun movie or whatever?
I mean, that'd be cool. I'd be on board with that. If he did like some Event Horizon kind of thing.
Event Horizon. I think that's what I was talking about. Is that the Sun movie, Event Horizon?
No, you're thinking of Sunshine?
Sunshine. But Event Horizon, yeah, that was scary as
Event
fuck.
Horizon, if we see Blomkamp's version of Event Horizon, I'm on board with that. And I've never seen Event Horizon. I just know about it.
It's good. It's a nice, scary sci-fi horror movie.
I'm on board. Here's the thing with Neil Blomkamp and Chappie, and there's a critical response to this movie, which, it's pretty bad. It's got a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes,
which I don't ever trust that website though.
I never read actual movie reviews anymore.
I heard they gave Chappelle like 2% on there. I was like, the special that just came out that was amazing?
Yeah.
I don't trust that site.
I watch some trailers every once in a while, but I've basically shunned away from reading movie reviews unless it's on Letterboxd, which is great.
I won't even watch trailers. Like if it's a director I like,
you
Wes
just trust
Anderson.
it?
What was it? That last one they did, the one in the Budapest. I was like all excited about it, and the trailer kept popping up.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, get out of my way! I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the color tones until I'm in the actual theater, stoned, sitting in my seat, eating one of those little chicken things they have at the ArcLight.
Oh, you're an ArcLight man?
Dude, I haven't done shit for movies.
You're just a guy now. You're a guy with kids. You can't go see movies.
I'm a guy with kids. I can't watch anything. No, but I used to love ArcLight. Yeah.
ArcLight's great.
I moved far from it.
I love that they have a high-end movie theater hot dog, which is one of my favorite movie snacks.
Dude, a good, like a quality hot dog.
Quality dog.
Also, they have good caramel corn, and if you buy the regular corn and the caramel corn and you mix them up, it's a perfect combo of like the sweetness with the savory, like buttery saltiness.
See, I've never
been
been
like $20.
I've never been able to get on board with a sweet popcorn. Caramel corn, kettle corn, it's not really my bag.
You're not doing enough drugs before you go into the theater.
I can't do any drugs before I get into the theater anymore.
You gotta be inebriated to enjoy half of this.
And talk to me 4 years ago. Chappie had a lot of people who were like, this is a very intelligent movie, theoretically.
Yeah.
But it's clunky and it's unappealing one-note characters. Chappie is a further downward step for director Neil Blomkamp, says Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter. Tim Grierson of Screen International wrote, despite his ambitions, Chappie is a bucket of bolts. Manola Dargis of The New York Times wrote that Blomkamp struggles with the material. Kenneth Turan of The Los Angeles Times called it cartoonish and preposterous and not in a good way.
I like that note at the end though, and not in a good way, because I was like, cartoonish and preposterous. That sounds like everything I love. And
I
then
would
love
that.
Yeah, and then like, but not the right way. Okay.
If Neil Blomkamp made like a robot Looney Tunes movie, like if this was like the Looney Tunes version of RoboCop,
yeah,
where he's also sort of a bumbling criminal,
yeah,
it'd be fun. I would enjoy that.
This whole subject of Chappie would have it could have been a good movie. So it's just like in a different time, in a different place. If he comes back and redoes it, I'm just joking about that part. Jay, you have like a straight face. It's like if he comes back and redoes it, you're like, next.
Well, because this is the interesting thing. He was originally wrote Chappie as a trilogy.
Oh my god!
So Chappie could have come back in Chappie 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Dude.
But Neil Blomkamp himself was like, man, Chappie didn't do well enough. I kind of screwed the pooch on this one.
It'd be cool if James Cameron comes in and picks up where Blomkamp left off and redoes it. It's a reimaginary of Chappie, a reimagining.
I'd like to have done another Chappie, but I can't. I don't even know. I can't roll my R's, so that's the closest I'm going to get to doing a South African accent on this episode.
You can't roll your R's?
No.
Should we practice it right now? Take your tongue and go. You start at. Yeah, you get it. Can you actually fold it back to where the bottom of your tongue touches your roof?
Not really. Look. No,
Try
my tongue's not dexterous like yours.
That's the first step in rolling your tongue club. You get your tongue to hit the. You got to practice that for a couple weeks.
All right. I used to have to do stuff like that to move my eyebrows down like this. I couldn't furrow my brow. So I'd spend a lot of time. You're learning a lot about my old life.
I love it.
In school, when I was in, I think even earlier than that, like sophomore year, I was, somebody told me, they're like, all right, listen, you got to train your face muscles to do that. So I would practice pushing down my eyebrows so that way I could see what it would look like. And then I got used to doing it. So now I got full eyebrow control.
That's awesome. Full eyebrow control.
Well, not full. I can't do the whole one raising an eyebrow thing.
Dude, let me just give you a stamp of approval. You've got full eyebrow control.
It's one of my special skills on my resume. Burping on command and full eyebrow control.
And soon you'll be putting the bottom of your tongue on the roof of your mouth and doing rolling R's.
Next on the list, 2020 goals.
2020 goals? Yeah, that's it. Every morning say that to yourself. This year.
I will get my tongue
to roll
on the roof of my mouth backwards.
That's right.
Is there a movie that you would recommend people see instead of Chappie?
To see instead of Chappie that tackles some of the same subject, or
could be if maybe just even a more fun sci-fi movie.
Okay, I haven't finished this movie yet, of course, right? But I saw the first 40 minutes of Ready Player One and loved it.
Oh yeah,
dude, it was freaking funny. It was funny and it was trippy. I love the concept of virtual reality, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Love that, and it's kind of in a dystopic future.
Yep.
But it's also like in a fun Steven Spielberg light family way dystopic future. So it's not just like Mad Max, just murder and rape.
Right.
So you're like, it kind of sucks because it's the future and there's no middle class and like, the environment's gone to shit.
Right.
But you're also like, but like people are still cracking jokes and having, going out and having a barbecue.
Yeah.
And so it's still got like that optimism, which I really liked about it. So there's that one. I would recommend at least the first 40 minutes of that one.
You gotta love a good optimistic future movie,
dude. Yeah, I think so. Right. Well, that's what I love. I mentioned the show Last Man on Earth with Will Forte, who's like one of my favorites.
Yes,
and I love the fact that they took a comedic, loose approach to like everyone's dead, the planet turned to mush, and it sucks. And then you're like, but like there's Will Forte still being wacky and absurd, and I like that because that's how I cope with reality is like just like absurd humor and dry silliness and dry sarcasm. So I can handle even, the worst of times like that. So when I see a movie like that, I'm like, oh, it's going to be all right. Even if it's not all right, it's going to be all right. It's like a good country song.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Well, I would say you should, whenever you get a chance, finish watching Ready Player One.
Okay.
It stays optimistic. It stays pretty fun. I would say if you don't want to see something a little bit more fun sci-fi and you want to see some Blomkamp at his finest, of course, watch District 9 and check out Raqqa, which is his first Oat Studios movie. It's got Sigourney Weaver in it. It's got some other people who I can't remember.
It's sci-fi.
It's sci-fi.
Oh,
it's solid.
And you can see it on what? On
YouTube. And it's short. I think it's 25, 30 minutes.
Oh, awesome.
So just
love that.
enough for you to watch in 2 sittings.
Yeah, I can actually
like 5.
I might even see the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, Chevsky, thanks for coming on, man.
Dude, thank you. Dude, this is so much fun. I needed this. This is like my morning, it feels great.
This is the jolt. I'm so glad you could encourage me to watch Chappie.
Dude, I'm glad, man. I'm glad we could talk about it. I'm glad I could get it off my chest and also at the same time be like, not a total asshole to Neil Blomkamp. Be like, thanks for still making your movies, man. Keep on creating,
come back,
bro.
Neil. I can't wait to see your horror movie.
Yeah, guys.
Please.
Check it out. And you mentioned we talked about Elysium earlier. So check that one out. I loved it. I people that I saw with were like, whatever. I had a couple friends that were arguing about like that it was it's what's going to happen in the future, man. I was like, no, it's sci-fi, but it's social. It's like a zombie movie. It's social commentary about right now with like the healthcare system and the class divide and stuff like that. And even if you don't always 100% agree with it, it's still like it was freaking good. It was good concepts to be aware of. Yeah.
Where can the listeners find your other work?
I'm a Southern California real estate agent, so if you want to fucking check out some houses or sell your house, hit me up on that. You want to talk about? If you want to, dude, just check out my podcast. It's called Fantasy House Podcast. It's on all the platforms. It's basically HGTV like MTV Cribs in like a Rick and Morty world. So every episode I have a different guest on, which you're doing an episode.
Yep.
And they walk us through their surreal, trippy, mind blowing fantasy house. It's really fun. It's a good time.
Fun times.
Yeah, Fantasy House Podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you got social media handles they can follow you on?
Oh yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram, Fantasy House Podcast on Instagram.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. By the time this is out, I will be finishing up getting my road dates all finalized. So check my website out if you're in the Midwest or in Texas to come see me in your city. And the album should be coming out soon, too. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You'll probably hear more about that in the intro or whatever. But yes, good times. Tell a friend, subscribe, listen, rate, review, all that good stuff. Edgar, any final words? Edgar? Yeah.
I held the mic up too many.
That's what you got to
so
do.
cute.
He's getting very well trained. Thanks for coming on, Chevsky.
Dude, thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah, same. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.